What's up, everybody? It is your girl, Ms Cat, your coach, accountability partner, and teacher. And I am here with the first episode of Both Sides of the Check. And this is a show for aspiring entrepreneurs to make that decision if it's about that time for you to jump off the porch and, come to this side of the fence with the check writers. All right, let's jump right in. But before we do, let me introduce my partner in crime, my co-host, Ms Lesean. How you doing today, girl?
I'm doing good. So happy to be here. My name is LaShawn, as you mentioned, and we getting ready to rock and roll with this thing. Hopefully we can help some people decide whether or not they want to be an entrepreneur full time, or are you just gonna stay on the porch and play it safe.
Man, so you already know on this show, we have two terms, and it's the check writer versus the check casher, because I think they need to be clear on what side of the check they stand on.
Exactly. So go ahead and let the people know what a check writer is, because I think you're a little bit more team check writer.
Definitely team check writer. So a check writer is a person that is a full-time entrepreneur. Ain't no side hustling, ain't nothing, behind them, full-time. That's what they do, 100% entrepreneurship.
Mad respect for those people. However, we do have a lot of people that are check cashers. These people work a 9 to 5, 8 to 5, whatever the hours are these days. But at any rate, they have a job and they still hustle. Are they trying to figure out what an entrepreneur actually is, or what it is they want to become, if they want to be an entrepreneur or if they want to work and hustle?
So basically, what I think I'm hearing you say is they kind of got something to fall back on if it don't work out.
Oh yeah, they're definitely playing safe. Playing safe. But I got a lot of respect for those people, because it's not easy being an entrepreneur. It's not easy being a check writer. Like, everybody wants to be successful until
it's time to pay that cost, right? So at the end of the day, let's talk about it, because I know that we consider ourselves to be a check writers,
for
right?
sure.
But why would you say that?
I mean, myself personally, like, for the past 11 years, I've been totally self-employed. With all this going on now with the economy, with the price of groceries, like, they just play it safe. And I have a lot of respect for the 9 to 5, 8 to 5, whatever, the time is these days, because it's just a safe way to go. And if you have a family to feed, of course, that's safe.
Now, I can dig it, but I think the thing for me is we just not the same, though, because it's a total different type of hustle, a different grind when you don't have nothing,
I
to
agree.
fall back on.
I agree. I totally agree. Like, yeah. I mean, it's safe. That's just the best way to describe it. It's safe. And I mean, that's something that people will become more knowledgeable of when they're trying to decide whether or not they want to be a full-time entrepreneur, because it's not easy.
It ain't.
It takes a lot for you to say, I'm gonna walk away from a for sure check to go to something that I don't even know if it's gonna work out. You know what I mean? So it's definitely a hard decision, and you want to make sure you do your due diligence before you just say, oh, I'm gonna leave my job.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna leave my job to go and do hustle full time. I mean, that's what it is.
Big facts. And so with that being said, I know we consider ourselves as check writers, right? And I know it ain't always been like that, you know what I'm saying? But, for those that don't know, how did you become a check writer?
Well, like you said, I hadn't always been a check writer. I was a check casher. I mean, I've always been a check casher. Like, up until about 11 years ago, when I moved to Houston from Tallahassee, Florida. 850 in the house for sure. So we came here, and my sister's kids, my sister's husband, and we just stepped out on faith. And we just decided that we were going to put both feet into our business and just struggle and grind. The good times, the bad times, the ups, the downs, it's all really been worth it. It's been about the peace for being self-employed. It's been about, just being able to live life on your own terms.
Facts. And one thing that I could say about y'all is, y'all have celebrity clientele, y'all corporate clients, like, y'all getting it, you know what I'm saying? So this ain't no, just everyday, like, baby shower, like, y'all do conferences, all kind of stuff.
Sure.
Like, but I guess for those that don't know, like, how do you get to that point where you can get those corporate clients?
So my business is the Party Palace. We do event decor, we do corporate events, we do private events, we host all type of church events, and we also do event rentals. So we're almost like the middleman sometimes, and sometimes we're not. But it's been a passion of ours to do events. We do all types of events, but at the same time too, it's definitely been about the dedication, and also it's taken a lot of discipline for us to get this far. It has taken a whole lot of discipline and a lot more sacrifice for sure.
For sure, because I mean, I've seen you in action, and one thing that I know, like this ain't no side hustling. Like you could tell just with the amount of work that goes into what y'all do, like it is phenomenal work, like top tier. You know what I mean? So it's one thing to be a check writer and like just do what you do casually, but you guys do this, do it for real.
We do it for real. And I mean, I think that's what makes us like, we click because you're the same way. You have both feet in your business. By the way, like, what is your business? Let the people know what it is that you do. What qualifies you to be a check writer?
It's so funny because when I go out and about, everybody be like, Ms. Cat, what is it that you do? And I'll be like, whatever it takes. No,
for sure. That's a real answer. Like that's a real answer.
But like for me, they always try to say like the jack of all trades, and I struggle with that. But when I had first, so basically my story starts as I was a check cashier, right? I was, working in property management at an apartment complex back in the day that they used to call Broadway Square. I don't know what it's called now because 10 years ago, 10 years, right? But we were managing that property and someone bought the property and we lost our jobs.
Oh, Lord.
Man, just like they came in that day, they was like, oh, we already got our own staff. Like, we don't need y'all no more.
Out of here.
Out of there. Now, at that point in my life, I was making about 6 figures on this job. So to get my lifestyle snatched away from me just like that, I had made a decision like I would never in the history of life let anybody control, my life like that no more. So I made a commitment to myself that I would never work for nobody again. So 10 years, strong, I've stuck to that. But it took me a while to try to figure out what it was that I wanted to do. I do have a passion for film and production. So I did go to film school. I started a production company, Ms Cat TV. That's how I got the name Ms Cat. Did a lot of feature films, just did my thing here in the city. But I was a starving artist with 2 kids, so that got old quick because I needed something that I could make money with. So I had a colleague of mine that was like, hey, I'm starting a tax business. I need somebody to help me get it up and running. I know, you're an entrepreneur. Can you help me? I know you got the time. I'm like, okay, cool. And not that I was like, eye hustling, but being in management,
pocket
I was
watching.
You know what I'm saying?
You
pocket watching. Both sides of the check
Let's
looking.
Be honest, you was pocket watching, dog.
But I noticed that her first deposit, when the season had first started, was over 6 figures for that one deposit. So I was like, yo, like I'm in the wrong. I need to get on this side of the fence. So I opened up my own tax firm. The rest is history. And I then got my own tax software, started mentoring, coaching other tax professionals how to start their tax businesses. So now at this point, I don't even do taxes anymore. I just have my tax software. I recently started a nonprofit, but due to, the economy, I had to shut that down. But I just, like I said, I'm just the type of person I'm gonna keep going until I get it right. So,
but in saying what you said though, dog, like really, I mean, you it's not easy. It's not glitz and glam.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I think that people will learn that from us, that it's not glitz and glam, because you saw a 6-figure check, but you didn't start making 6 figures as soon as you started doing your own thing. So I mean, it's been a journey.
For sure.
It's been a journey.
What I want people to understand is like, it's okay if you have to adjust, you know what I'm saying? And adapt and, cause the economy is changing for real. The economy is changing. Things are changing. So you might have to make a move and there's nothing wrong with that. And so for me, now I have, full-time coaching and mentorship. I'm starting Ms Cat Consulting, because I realized that through all of this, consulting, coaching, and mentorship is what I'm good at. Okay. And, so but what that also did do for me as well, it helped mold me to be multifaceted as well. Okay. So now I know about production. I know about this, that, and the third. So it's a lot of things, that I bring to the table in regards to entrepreneurship.
You mentioned, you got laid off and, that kind of like put some spark under you with starting to be a full-time entrepreneur. So I want to know what would you do if you lost it all? Like if you lost everything within your business, so to speak, what would you do? Or at least give the people some advice as to what you think would be best if they lost it all.
So for me, being a full-time entrepreneur for 10 years, if I lost everything today and I had to start from scratch, what I would do is find what I do the best or research a need. Let's just say like that. So I will go, try to figure out what people need, and I will create a business or create a service around, what people need.
Okay.
And then, build from there. I would just build something totally from scratch. So because in my mind, I could never go back. Like, that's just Cat. Like, I could never go back to the other side of the fence.
Never say never, though.
So I mean, hey, never say never. But I think I have such, gusto to build business. And because I'm so multifaceted, it's like I would just find a problem and build a solution and just keep rolling. That's what I would do. But what about you?
We always... We share a big difference when it comes to that, because I would probably turn into a check writer, because at this point in life, it's about peace for me. It's about peace. If you go to work for someone else, you could lose your job, but I mean...
and just because it is real, like at least to stack up, like you said, peace, have that peace of mind, and that looks different to everybody else. Because for me, I'm fight or flight. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So if I become a check writer, a check casher. Look, I couldn't even say, it didn't even roll off my tongue good enough, right? But if I become a check casher, I feel like for me personally, I might get too comfortable in that space. And, you know what I mean? Like, that's me.
That's kind of like where that's another way we differ. Because I think that it's always best to do, at this point in life anyway, do what's best for the moment. And sometimes doing what's best for the moment may not always mean you can be your own boss. You know what I'm saying?
Big fact.
And it's not anything wrong with that. Like, I don't want people to feel like it's something wrong with going from a full-time entrepreneur to working for someone again. Because if you have really been out here in the mud being a full-time entrepreneur for as long as we have,
for sure,
we've been an entrepreneur, it ain't easy. It's not easy at all. It's, nobody talks about the things you lose, the things you sacrifice. And it's safe. You see people out doing their own thing, but these people have jobs. And then here we are, entrepreneurs, and we don't have any, we don't have a lot of free time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I hadn't created that life to where I have a lot of free time. And I don't want people to get the impression that it's something wrong with working a 9 to 5 or 8 to 5, or just not being your own boss, because it's still life to live when you're not your own boss. You have life to live.
And then,
but now it's now I'm gonna say this. It is definitely rewarding to be your own boss. It is rewarding. And it's not always money. It's not always money.
And like you said, you cannot put a price tag on a peace of mind. You cannot put a price tag on that. However, for me, I am not an advocate of trading my time for money. That's one thing that I'm not an advocate of. Like, there's not an amount of money that one could pay me that will equate my time, because time is something that I could never get back. You get what I'm saying?
I am an advocate of trading my time for being able to pay my bills. So whatever that look like to whoever, like that's where I'm rocking and rolling. Yeah. That's where I'm rocking and rolling, because I'm not gonna hide behind pictures, glitz, glams, or anything like that, when it's a real side to this. It's a real side to this. It's not always up.
Yeah.
It's not always good. It's not always, you feel good.
Yeah. So. And I mean, and that's the beauty of, this podcast. The beauty of this relationship is like, it's not always where we agree, but at the end of the day, I think that when people tune in, they can see, the perspective from both sides,
Yeah.
Man. And I'm just so glad that we have an opportunity to do this podcast because, with us being two strong check writers, you know what I mean? And just being on this side of the fence with each other, it's been good, bad, and ugly, but we've been able to experience that together as true friends.
For sure, together.
Yes.
With relatable situations, so to speak.
For sure.
It's definitely been helpful on this journey to have someone who completely understands where I am in my journey, and I can understand where they are in their journey. Doing this podcast together definitely it makes it easy that we know each other. It makes it easier that we're friends. I think that will help us to be able to come real with the people.
And also, I think that they will be able to see two totally different perspectives, on some of these topics, because at the end of the day,
we bump heads about some of this stuff. We bump heads about some of this stuff.
We love each other, but at the end of the day, we have at sometimes totally different perspectives. But I think, that's what makes this so great, because one thing that people will understand is this journey is it's levels to this, right? Yeah. It's so many levels. So, if there was anything that I could say to kind of close this thing out and like really just, land the plane for lack of better terms, is I would just say stay tuned, and stay posted to the show, because we're going to be talking about all the things that nobody else wants to talk about. Like, we're going to really hone in on this journey of entrepreneurship from a real perspective. This ain't us, glitz and glams on social media, putting up the smoke and mirrors. Like, we're true, we're real and transparent. And, and I think that people, they need that so they can make a true determination if this is where they want to be.
I mean, just in my opinion too, like really coming down on that peace.
Yeah.
Like, we just live in a time where if you don't have anything else, your peace is important. And whatever that looks like for you, however you get to that, I think it's important. It's priceless. I mean, I wouldn't advise someone to just beat themselves up or work themselves in the ground just to say, oh, I'm a check writer, or, I'm my own boss, because it's having peace may look different for someone else.
And also piggybacking off the whole peace thing, sometimes just being informed and educated will help you to have a peace of mind too.
For sure.
Right? Because a lot of people, because they don't know what's on the other side, they are fearful. They're, feeling some type of way. But when you have people that are already in the driver's seat that can tell you exactly what to look for, I think that will give a certain amount of peace.
But that type of peace is not priceless. That type of peace is not priceless.
But that comes with a price tag, because our blood, sweat, and tears.
That comes with a price tag.
Went into that.
But I mean, it's just really about peace. For me, it's about peace. Like, I just want people to know that whatever peace looks like for you, like, ride with the wave. Ride with the wave of whatever peace looks like, because entrepreneurship is not always peaceful. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm LiShon. We certainly hope that you come back and take a look at what we have to offer, and also just get your mind right.
And I'm Ms Cat, your coach, accountability partner, and teacher. You can check me out at Ms Cat Consulting, and we're going to bring all the jewels, all the tools, all the nuggets, so you stay locked in. Peace.